The laugh sliced through the quiet of our bedroom like a blade, sharp and mocking. "You're not going to sleep with me," Sarah said, her voice dripping with a strange, bitter amusement, her eyes glinting in the dim glow of the bedside lamp. I froze, my hand still on the edge of the comforter, the air suddenly heavy with a truth I hadn't yet grasped. Her words hung there, taunting, as if she knew something I didn't, a secret she was daring me to uncover. I stared at her, my heart thudding against my ribs, searching her face for the warmth I'd once known. The woman I'd married 10 years ago, who'd whispered promises of forever under a starlit sky, seemed a stranger now. Her auburn hair spilled over the pillow, but her smile was cold, almost cruel. "What's that supposed to mean?" I asked, my voice low, trembling with a mix of confusion and dread. She shrugged, rolling onto her side, her back to me, as if the moment was trivial. "Nothing, David. Just go to sleep." But her tone carried a weight, a hidden edge that pricked at the back of my mind. I lay down, staring at the ceiling, the shadows pooling like ink in the corners of the room. Sleep didn't come. Instead, my thoughts churned, replaying her words, her laugh, the way her eyes had flickered with something unspoken. The next morning, the kitchen smelled of burnt toast and coffee, the remnants of a rushed breakfast. Sarah was already dressed, her navy blazer crisp, her heels clicking against the hardwood as she grabbed her keys. "Late meeting tonight," she said, not meeting my gaze. "Don't wait up." It wasn't unusual. She'd been working long hours at the law firm for months, but the casual dismissal in her voice felt like a door slamming shut. I nodded, forcing a smile, ignoring the unease curling in my gut. She was stressed, I told myself. It was just work. But the red flags had been there, hadn't they? The late nights that stretched later. The phone she kept face down. The way her laughter had grown rare, replaced by a distracted silence. I'd chalked it up to the grind of her career, to the natural ebb of a decade-long marriage. I'd been a fool. That afternoon, I found myself staring at her laptop, left open on the dining table. It wasn't like her to be careless. My fingers hovered over the trackpad, guilt prickling at my conscience. But her laugh from last night echoed in my mind, a taunt I couldn't shake. I clicked, and her email inbox stared back at me, a Pandora's box of secrets. There, nestled among work threads, was a name I didn't recognize, Mark. No last name, just Mark, with a string of messages that made my stomach lurch. "Last night was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you." The words burned into my retinas, each one a splinter in my chest. I scrolled, my hands shaking, uncovering months of messages, intimate, playful, raw. Plans for dinners I hadn't been invited to. References to moments I hadn't shared. My breath caught as I read her replies. Her words laced with a warmth she hadn't shown me in years. "You make me feel alive again," she'd written. I wanted to scream, to hurl the laptop across the room, but I sat frozen, drowning in the betrayal. When Sarah came home that night, the house was dark except for the faint glow of the kitchen light. I sat at the table, the laptop closed, my hands clasped tightly to keep them from trembling. She froze in the doorway, her eyes darting to the laptop, then to me. "You're up," she said, her voice too bright, like glass about to shatter. "Who's Mark?" I asked, the question a blade of its own, cutting through the silence. Her face paled, her lips parting as if to speak, but no words came. The air grew thick, charged with the weight of her guilt. "Don't lie to me, Sarah. I saw the emails." She sank into a chair, her hands twisting in her lap. "It's not what you think," she started, but her voice wavered, betraying her. "He's just someone from work. A friend." "A friend you're sleeping with?" My voice cracked, raw with the pain I'd been holding back. "A friend who makes you feel alive again?" Her eyes widened, and I saw the truth in them, stark and undeniable. She didn't deny it. She couldn't. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she whispered, tears welling in her eyes. "It was a mistake, David. I was lonely. You were always working, always distant." "Don't," I snapped, my anger flaring. "Don't you dare blame me for this." But even as I spoke, doubt gnawed at me. Had I been distant? Had I let our marriage slip through my fingers, too focused on my own career, my own routines? The thought twisted the knife deeper, but it didn't excuse her. Nothing could. "I love you," she said, her voice breaking. I still love you, David. I got lost. I stood, my chair scraping against the floor, the sound harsh in the quiet. I want a divorce, I said, the words heavy, final, like stones dropping into a still pond. Her tears came then, hot and fast, her hands reaching for me. But I stepped back out of reach. You laughed last night, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. You laughed and said I wasn't going to sleep with you. Was that because you were already with him? She sobbed, her hands covering her face, but I didn't wait for an answer. I walked out, the night air cold against my skin, the stars above indifferent to the wreckage of my heart. I drove aimlessly, the city lights blurring through my tears, until I found myself at the pier where we'd had our first date. The waves lapped against the pilings, a steady rhythm that mocked the chaos inside me. I thought of the early days, her hand in mine, her laughter bright and unburdened, the way she'd looked at me like I was her whole world. Had it all been a lie? Or had we both let it slip away, piece by piece, until there was nothing left but betrayal? I wanted to hate her, but the love was still there, tangled with the pain, a knot I couldn't unravel. Then my phone buzzed, a text from Sarah. I'm so sorry, David. I ended it with him. Please come home. We can fix this. I stared at the words, my heart warring with itself. Could we fix it? Could trust be rebuilt from ashes? Or was this just another lie? Another desperate grasp to hold on to something already gone? I didn't reply. Instead, I looked out at the dark water, the horizon swallowed by night. The truth was, I didn't know what came next. But as the waves whispered their endless secrets, one thing was clear. The man I'd been when I married her was gone, and the road ahead was one I'd have to walk alone. The story wasn't over, but the chapter we'd written together was. And as I stood there, the cold seeping into my bones, I felt the weight of that ending, heavy and final, like a door closing on a life I'd never live again.